Welcome to the Consulting Success Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Zapersky. In this podcast, we'll dive deep into the world of elite consultants, where you'll learn the strategies, tactics, and mindset to grow a highly profitable and successful consulting business. Hey, it's Michael Zapersky, and today I'm very excited to have Kelly Roach joining us. Kelly, welcome.
Hey, Michael, excited to be here with you.
Yeah, it's going to be some fun. So let's just get things started right away. For those who aren't familiar with you and your work, briefly explain and share with us what you do.
Sure, absolutely. Well, wife and mom first, but besides that, during the day, I do business growth strategy, and that means that I help entrepreneurs, business owners, and executive leaders to find the fastest, most efficient way to achieve their financial and business growth goals without compromising their quality of life. So it's all about team, leadership, efficiency, productivity, systems, and infrastructure to allow you to bring together your personal and your financial goals.
Terrific. Well, you just hit on several of the areas that I was excited to dive into with you. So we're off to a good start. Let's go back a little while. You began your career as a cheerleader, from what I understand.
Yes, I was an NFL cheerleader and then moved right from the NFL into the Fortune 500 world. So
let's talk about that, right? Like, how did you go from being a cheerleader to transitioning into the corporate world? And I must say, I don't know many cheerleaders, so this may be a very common thing, but walk me through just like, what did that look like?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, actually, to dial the clock back, this will help the audience get to know me just a little bit better. So when I was in college, the reason why I selected the university that I went to was because I was dead broke and my family didn't have any money. And so I picked the school where I was going to be in the least amount of debt. So it just so happened that the school that I went to didn't have a Division I cheerleading team. They didn't have a Division I dance team. And for people around the world that maybe don't do their divisions the way that the United States does, Division I is just the highest tier, like the most competitive level of athletics in any realm at the university level, right? And I had been doing really highly competitive dance and cheerleading all through high school. When I got to college and I had chosen this school because I didn't want to get into all this debt, they didn't have a Division I cheer or dance team. And I wanted to keep competing. I wanted to keep learning and growing and pushing myself. And so really, it was a decision between going backwards or going forward. So I said, you know what, I'm going to go forward and I'm going to audition for the NFL. An NFL cheerleader is as much a dancer as it is a performer, as it is a public speaker, as it is, someone doing charity work and everything in between. You're speaking, you're on camera, you're performing, all of those things. Mm-hmm. And I was a communications major. So it was a perfect fit for me because there's so much to it. And I was the youngest girl on the team. I had just turned 18 years old, and it just gave me the opportunity to just have this incredible experience at the very high level of responsibility at a really young age. And it allowed me to hone my communication skills and get comfortable on camera. And really, I think was a huge stepping stone into the world of sales because it was getting comfortable putting myself out there, taking risks, being comfortable on camera, being comfortable communicating with everyone from the average Joe to the CEO. And I think that was a huge stepping stone for me when I got into the Fortune 500 world of sales.
Let's actually talk about that for a moment, then we'll come back to the transition that you made into kind of the Fortune 500, because I know myself at a young age, I was in my very early 20s, about 21 years old, when I went over to Japan and opened up a branch office for our company over there and started working with some large brands like Panasonic and Dow Jones Japan and a whole bunch of others. And I certainly know that at that time, like, I had a lot of insecurities, a lot of anxiety, being so young and typically being surrounded by people in their 50s or 60s, CEOs, chairmen of organizations and so forth. What was it like for you? I mean, when you were 18, you were kind of the youngest person in this environment. And some people might be saying, well, yeah, I'm not a cheerleader, Mike, so how's this relevant to my business? Very interested in your mindset. Like, what were you going through? And I'm sure that you hit some tough times at that stage, or you had some questions. How did you keep going?
Yeah, well, when I joined the NFL and I was kind of in that situation, I have to say I was surrounded by these brilliant, amazing women that were leaders, and I had scientists, nurses, teachers, real estate agents, and everything in between on my team. And so I didn't face a lot of adversity. However, once I got into the Fortune 500 world and I went from being this new college kid to all of a sudden being 22 years old and managing people that were my parents' age, and sitting in boardrooms where my peers were the same age as my parents, because I was promoted 7 times in 8 years. So in my 20s, I was kind of doing what most people were doing in their 50s. I faced a lot of resistance. There were a lot of people that were like, who does this kid think she is going to come in here and tell us what's what, whatever. And there's a lot of people initially that didn't want to report to me and they didn't want to work with me and sabotage and threw tomatoes and all of that stuff. And so it was definitely a bit of an uphill battle there. But in the end, I was like, you know what? I will earn your respect. You don't have to trust me off the bat. You don't have to respect me off the bat. Watch, listen, observe, and then see if you want to work with and for me. And people kind of came around of their own because they realized, hey, wait a second, linking arms with this girl, I'm going to win, I'm going to make money, I'm going to get promoted, I'm going to be on the most successful team. And so it definitely was not like an easy, clean, upward climb, so to speak.
Where did that mindset come from? Because I think there's a lot of people who that'll resonate with where they might be even as consultants working within organizations and they need to rally some champion, some director or key people on the staff around an idea and they're initially facing some resistance. So where did that mindset that you really embraced come from to say, you know what, listen, you guys don't have to trust me already. Let me demonstrate. Let me show you. Like, how did you first of all get there from a mindset perspective and then put it into action?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, I think it's great that you brought up about being a consultant in a company because think about it. You're doing exactly what I was doing every single day. Every time you take on a new client, right? You're walking in, they're like, who's this outsider that you think knows our company better than we do that you're going to bring in here to tell us what we're supposed to be doing, right? Like, that's the honest knee-jerk reaction that human beings are going to have in any situation where they feel like a little bit infringed upon, right? By like an outsider or whatever. So
Sure.
To me, my mindset is we're not entitled to anything. No one has to trust you. No one has to respect you. You don't just get respect because someone else hired you as a consultant or because someone else promoted you. That's great that someone believed in you and made that hiring decision or believed in you. And in my case, before I started my own company and promoted me, but we all start at zero. And in some instances, when you're a consultant coming into a company or you're a new manager that just got promoted over someone else that's been there 20 years, you're starting at less than zero, right, Michael? So to me, it is all about your mindset because if you go in with an entitlement mindset and you just expect everyone to honor you and to respect you and to trust you without even knowing you, that's kind of a silly thing, right? So I think it's all about your mindset and how you approach people and in you almost like humbling yourself to understand from the other person's perspective that you need to earn their trust. You need to walk the walk and talk the talk and model the way and show them that they're going to win by aligning themselves with you. And these are people's careers that are on the line. So it's fair that they're going to have some resistance initially to any outsider that's now been put either over them or in the mix with them or brought in as a change agent. I mean, especially think about it from the standpoint of a consultant. A lot of times a consultant's brought in to change things, right? If there's one thing that people are naturally inclined to be resistant to, for sure, it's going to be change. So to me, it's that mindset of just, it's the opposite of entitlement. It's recognizing that you're not entitled and going in with the mindset of wanting and having that desire to earn trust and that desire to build bridges and make connections and to show people that they can win by aligning with you. And then I forget what the second part of the question was. I'm so sorry.
No, it's all good. So, I mean, those are really great points. And what I'd like to do is to make it really practical for people. So if they're in a situation where they're facing resistance, they're inside an organization as consultants, and not everyone is on board. I mean, I'm sure it sounds like you've encountered that situation not once, not twice, but many times. What are some practical applications? How can people go into a new organization and get others to start rallying around them?
Yeah, well, I think first and foremost, putting yourself in the other person's shoes, right? And extending an olive branch instead of expecting them to. I think sometimes when you're the new person, you expect them to reach out to you. But what I would recommend instead is to say, hey, I realize I'm new here and I realize that you guys do an amazing job already without me and that you probably know more about what it takes to succeed here than I do. So I'd love to learn from you and I'm hoping that you can also learn from me. Like, here's what my intentions are and here's how I think I can help you to make more money, have more fun, get better results, etc. And I would love to know also how you feel that you can help me. So just opening it up and being the first person to take that first step to build a bridge versus expecting someone else to, just because you're the new person. You have to put yourself in the perspective and in the shoes of the person that's sitting across the table or across the room from you.
Definitely. So now I want to fast forward. You built up this career in the corporate world, had, I think you said 7 promotions in 8 years, or was it the other way around?
Yeah.
Is that right? Quite a few. Obviously, you were creating results and performing well to do whatever you need to do to get to that place. Talk to me about what happened. Like, what was the tipping point for you where you decided, you know what, I'm going to go out and start my own business?
Yeah, a couple things. So, number one, it got to the point that I was not able to sustain or focus on my health. And that was a big kind of tipping point for me. And number two was just a realization from a big picture standpoint that I would be able to accomplish maybe sort of kind of some of my financial goals in that space, but certainly never, even if I became the CEO, would I be able to make the kind of money that I knew I could make on my own, given the results I was already producing for the company. And I also knew for sure, not only could I not get to my ultimate financial goals, but I would have to compromise more and more of myself and my time and my life in order to do it. And it was really at a point even then that I was making all this money and I had no time and no energy to spend it. And it wasn't healthy anymore. It just wasn't healthy. And I could dial the clock forward and say, you know what, I might be 40 having a heart attack at my desk. And there's more to life than that. And I wanted to create a life where I had room for family and for hobbies and for being involved in community and giving back and doing work that was making an impact on the world and having real relationships. And I wanted to be able to be successful as well. It's not that I wanted to just be lazy and not work. It's that I wanted to be able to bring those two things together. And I really took time to evaluate that. And it became very clear to me that the only way I was going to bring together both sides of the coin was in something that I constructed for myself versus going and relying on a company or an employer to create that for me.
Definitely, 100%. I think that'll certainly resonate with a lot of people who have been in similar situations or are in that situation right now thinking about it. You mentioned at the beginning that one of the areas that you help when you're working with entrepreneurs and senior executives and organizations is kind of systems that can help to support growth. Talk to me a little bit more about what those systems typically are.
While we work with a lot of seasoned and experienced consultants here at Consulting Success, I'm often contacted by new early stage consultants. Invariably, the question I'm asked is, what are the steps I should take to become a successful consultant and grow my consulting business to my first 6 figures per year? Well, I'm excited to announce that we've opened the doors for our Momentum program. This is our most popular program for early stage consultants, and it has helped almost 1,000 consultants to start, run, and grow successful consulting businesses. It gives you the step-by-step plan to help you with your messaging, your fees, and pricing strategies, how to win more proposals, how to go to market more effectively, developing a marketing system to generate leads consistently, and so much more. And right now, until September the 19th, you can sign up for Momentum and get 50% off the regular price by going to consultingsuccess.com/audio. That's consultingsuccess.com/audio, AUDIO. Only 100 spots are available to join Momentum and get 50% off. This deal is only available until September the 19th or until all 100 spots are gone. We won't be opening up new spots in this program for several months, so don't wait. Go to consultingsuccess.com/audio. That's consultingsuccess.com/audio, AUDIO.
Yeah, definitely. Well, systems for everything. So starting with how you manage your people, how you manage the money coming in and going out, your sales intake process and how you convert leads into paying customers, your marketing program, which should be highly systematic. Obviously, there needs to be innovative and creative aspects of that process, but still needs to be systematic in nature. Those are some of the core ones. So sales, marketing, money, people. Those are for the big guys, right?
And how do you feel that applies to, let's say, the independent consultant or the small consulting firm owner? What does it look like for them? What are some of the systems, maybe even the case of your own business as you launched it? Like, what are some of the integral systems that have really helped you to grow to the point that you're at now?
Well, those ones that I just mentioned, for sure. I mean, even when I was on my own, I mean, now I have a team of 7, but even when I was on my own, I started off by developing a systematic approach to my week every single week. I followed a sales system, meaning there was a process for everything. Right? There was a step-by-step process for taking someone from being a lead into a consultation, closing them, a one conversation close, the new client orientation, the setup, the start, the follow-through. I mean, everything was systematic. And that's why people always say it's so difficult to delegate, or it's so hard to teach people to take over doing what you're doing. It's not hard if when you're doing it yourself, you do it in a systematic way.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because that point I think is a really great one. And talk to me like what was going on in your mind, the time where you decided that you want to start adding team members and kind of building out beyond yourself or maybe assistant or some contractors. Like, what was the first person that you put into your organization and what role did they play?
Yeah, the first resource that I brought in. So I knew from day one that I was going to build a big team, and I knew I was going to keep building over the years. I was managing a team of 100 in my Fortune 500. So I was managing 17 independent locations, each one that ran like its own business. So I was accustomed to managing a lot of people, and I really enjoy that. Not all people enjoy that. So, just because I do it a certain way doesn't mean it's right for anybody else listening.
Definitely.
People might say, I only want to have one assistant and that's it. And that's totally cool too. There's no right or wrong to it. I enjoy managing and coaching and teaching and training people. So that's the direction that I want to go with my business. But from day one, the first thing that I did was I got help with the techie stuff. So I wanted to focus my time and energy on creating content, doing consultations with clients, and selling so that I could get revenue coming in. And so the first thing that I did was hire someone to take my blog and upload it to my website, send out my email to my email list each week, do Facebook marketing for me. So all the techie and tactical stuff, right from day one, I got help with that stuff. And that's another big kind of secret golden nugget that I would give everyone to take away. The fastest way to grow is getting help. People think you get help after you grow. And that's why people struggle to grow.
Yeah.
So the biggest piece of advice I can give for anyone listening that's like, I've been in a little bit of like income rut, I can't seem to get out of it. You probably are maxed out. And there's definitely a very tight cap on what you can do and where you can go as one person. And most of the stuff that you're doing is stuff that a $10 an hour person can do anyway. So that little bit of money that you're saving by not hiring, you're losing 10 times that by not getting someone doing that work so that you can focus on being out front, getting more customers, building your brand, doing publicity, creating effective content that converts, that type of thing.
I think that's a really, really good point, because too often people decide they'll put things off. Like I'll hire someone, or I'll delegate this when I just, bring in one more client or just a little bit more revenue. It's always like a little bit later. And then it just never happens, because then that little bit later becomes like the next little bit later. And now they've really put it off for a lot longer than they need to. And I think your example there is a really good one. So that's definitely a big issue that people encounter. What other big challenges or kind of nuggets can you share that you've seen from working with executives and other business owners that just really holds back their growth?
Well, I think it's an understanding of what your role as a small business owner actually is, right? So most small business owners, including consultants, really get stuck in that tactician role where they're kind of like a super employee in their own business. So it's like they are the business. There's no separation between them and the business. Like the business is them and they are the business. The role of a CEO in a small business is to set the strategy, create the content, drive the vision forward, and then manage and oversee all of the core components of how this business will run like a well-oiled machine: sales, marketing, finance, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that no one starts there, obviously. Everyone starts as a tactician. But the place where people really get stuck, Michael, is the understanding that to grow your business, you have to become a master of your craft. And the mastery of your craft as a business owner is not the thing that you do. So if you're a consultant and you want to have a small business working for yourself, you need to master sales and marketing. Mm-hmm. If you want to be a consultant and your interest and your passion is around mastering consulting, well, then you should work for another small business owner and be a consultant for them. It's two very, very different things to master the craft of being a business owner and CEO that's driving the business forward versus being a tactician that does the thing that your business does. And that lack of understanding keeps many, many, many business owners broke and struggling because they end up doing so much of the work that other people could do better, faster, cheaper. And if you don't focus on mastering sales and marketing, which is the lifeblood, the energy, the oxygen that keeps a business going, obviously that's why 95% of businesses still ultimately fail, right?
Yeah, that means so well said. And in the consulting world, it's talk about the idea that as when you're in the consulting business, you're like the role actually, you're not really in the consulting business. You're actually in the marketing business. Yet so many people are thinking that they're in the consulting business. And so they're just focused on their consulting, but they're not focused on what actually creates the clients for them to do their consulting work. And so you have to do the marketing, you have to do the sales, you have to push all that forward and really build enough momentum to see real progress so that you can bring the opportunity to work with clients where you can then really apply your skills and expertise.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So you've now built your business up. You have 7 people working with you. What does your typical day look like now that you have this team around you?
Yeah, definitely. Well, my day starts every day, obviously, with my team sales call. So first thing I'm going to do is get on the phone with my team and talk about our strategy and our roadmap for the day, what their time blocks are, where they are versus their metrics for the week, where they are versus their sales targets for the week, and what their plan to get there is going to be. And then most of the week, like Monday through Thursday, most of my week is split between calls of some kind. Whether I'm doing one-on-ones with my team, radio interviews, podcast interviews, recording for my own show, doing video, I try to be out front as much as I can because the way that our brand is built is based on content. My team runs all the operations. They run all the back-end stuff. They do the sales. They do the marketing. They keep the engine running, but I'm the face of the business. I'm the CEO, so I'm out front. I do private consulting. I work with organizations. I run a lot of programs. So I have those calls all throughout the week for the different programs that I run, masterminds, coaching programs, courses that I do live streams for, and all of that good stuff. And that's pretty much it. Fridays are very strategic for me. So Friday's like my CEO day. So Friday's where I'm really looking at the big picture of where we are from a 50,000 foot view. And working on things like finance and working on roadmap for next launches that we have coming up and thinking about seasons of content, thinking about people, our people plan and the development of my people, where they need to go next, what coaching I need to invest in for them, what resources we need, and just really taking the time to think strategically about where we're going and what we're doing so that I can be the best coach and the best leader possible to my team.
That's so important, isn't it? Is providing that space to actually think clearly and work on aspects of your business that otherwise you'd just be caught in the day-to-day. And not enough people do it, right? I mean, not enough people, they have all these great intentions, and they're worried about taking a half day or a full day to really think about their business at a high level and then get very kind of detailed into it. But just creating like that space, it's amazing how when you do that, whether it's from your home office or an office, or you go to a hotel someplace, or you take a walk in the park, like creating that time where you're just not in your usual environment and not just doing the usual stuff is where I find, Kelly, and you tell me about you, but where I find most of the really good ideas come from.
No, exactly. I mean, one of the things my dad said to me when I was really young, and this has always stuck with me, is he said, your life is like a canvas for a painting, right? And if you fill every single inch of that canvas every single day, and there's no white space, there's no room for opportunity. There's no room for something new. There's no space, no breathing room. And so leave a little white space so that you can be open to what's possible. Because if you fill every ounce of your day, every ounce of your energy, every ounce of your time with predetermined things, and there's no room for creativity, for innovation, for thought, for something new and different to emerge, you've kind of like closed yourself off from what's possible and accepted staying where you are.
Definitely. As business owners and for the consultants that are listening in, I think reinventing ourselves and continuing to kind of invest in our own education and improvement of skills and gaining, kind of attaining new ideas, just staying sharp and keeping that advantage is so important, right? Rather than just being stationary. What are you doing right now? And what are you kind of onto and excited about in terms of the development of your own brand, your own business, and just kind of taking things to that next level?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think the thing I'm most excited about right now is the growth and development of my team. We just hired another person full-time. We have another person that has been interning for us that is joining our team full-time in June. And she's going to be doing full-time PR roles, so really focused on television and radio. So I'm most excited just about the bandwidth that we're creating and what's possible given the overall development of our team and the new roles that we've added and just the space for what's possible. We definitely have seen like a huge surge in the last 6 months of people coming at us from all different directions with opportunities saying, what are you doing? Like, this online brand you're building is amazing. Like, you can see the bigger and more robust our team gets and the more they develop their craft, whether it's sales or marketing or podcasting or PR or whatever, people are definitely recognizing that. So I'm most excited about just continuing to build and grow and develop the team because we're like a little like close-knit family. Like, we're all united on this mission together to go out there and to help people accomplish their financial goals and to do it without compromising their quality of life. And that is a tiny tightrope to walk, if you know what I mean. So the work that we do is really important, and it's something that people many times have struggled to achieve for quite a long time, whether they've been able to achieve the financial part but not the life part, or the life part but not the financial part. So the work that we're doing matters, and I think my team really believes in that, and I really believe in that, and I'm just most excited to see them grow and for us overall as a company and a team to be able to help more people.
Fantastic. Kelly, this has been a really enjoyable conversation. Loved having you on here and sharing your experiences and expertise in this area. What's the best way for people to learn more about you and your work and to connect with you?
Yeah, definitely. Well, if you are looking to grow and you are either in business or aspiring to be, you want to build your consulting firm, all of that, Unstoppable Success Radio, which is my podcast. We have 3 episodes go live a week, and it's really just a place to help entrepreneurs and business leaders learn how to develop the mindset, the strategy, the tools needed to build their business faster and to do it in a succinct, efficient, profitable way. So that's Unstoppable Success Radio. And my home on the web is kellyroachcoaching.com.
Perfect. We'll have that up all in the show note, the transcripts and all the other good stuff linked in there. So go to consultingsuccess.com, look for Kelly Roach's podcast, and you'll find all the details and everything else that we've talked about here today there for you. Kelly, again, thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Consulting Success Podcast. For more episodes and to subscribe, rate, and leave a review, head on over to iTunes. And if you'd like to develop consistent lead flow and a highly profitable consulting business, learn more about our coaching programs at consultingsuccess.com.